So we are back at Alpha Art Gallery's Meet the Artist series. My name is Liliana Salsi, and I'm here with Angela Redmond, who is an exhibiting artist for the New Brunswick Arts Salon for our oil sculpture and mixed media exhibition. Hello, Angie. Would you prefer Angela or Angie?
Angie.
Okay, that works.
Okay.
Well, let's dive in. I'm a curatorial intern at Alpha Art Gallery, and we'll just be discussing Redmond's artistic journey, her creative process, and the remarkable work she's contributed to both our physical and virtual collection. Just to begin, how are you feeling today?
I feel great. I'm very excited to be a part of the show and to be speaking with you.
I'm so happy to hear that. To start
Yeah.
things off, could you walk us through your path to becoming an artist and maybe what key experiences or influences played a role in shaping your artistic voice and maybe particularly in your storytelling type of environment that you kind of place your art in?
Yeah. So like I've been an artist and loved art for as long as I can remember. But when I remember when I was a young girl, I used to take the portraits of celebrities out of magazines and try to recreate it, drawing it. But it was when I went to college. I went to Albion College in Michigan as an undergrad. And there I really found my direction of which way I wanted to go in painting. I just knew I wanted a career in art, but I wasn't sure exactly which way until I went to school there. And it wasn't actually until my final year as a senior where we got a new painting professor who came in. His name was Michael Dixon, and he showed me, the oil paint and portraiture and painting the figure, as well as a different subject matter that I was attracted to, painting about Black culture and having that representation in there. So I want to say it was really my final year of undergrad that I discovered what direction I want to go in with my oil paint, and that's what I'm continuing to do today.
Yeah, a lot of artists, that one of their main influences typically ends up being a professor, one of their, their mentors during their early career. So your work often bridges the gap between traditional painting and conceptual storytelling. When working with oil paints, how or why do you feel like this material reciprocates the personal and interpersonal relationships behind your work?
So I love oil paint. I love its versatility as far as, I can get it as thin as a watercolor, if that's what I need, and then all the way to as thick and luscious that it's known for, and giving that bold applications on the canvas. What I love, other than the oil paint itself, what it represents to me is oil paint is so traditional and is so important to like the history of art making when you go all the way back to like the old masters and the Renaissance and all of those paintings, and to be able to use a medium that was used during, mainly during that time, and to show people that were not shown, during that time. There was no black representation or anything, for the history of oil paint, but to be able to bring that contemporary, issues to this old traditional medium is very special to me.
Right.
So I'm definitely going to continue with the oil paint and continue to use that to create my figures.
Right. So bringing that timeless, medium to a more,
Yeah,
modern way of life, conceptual story that needs to be told.
exactly.
So now, based off your academic background, I was interested in your achievements of a master's in fine arts, but also the master's in science and digital art from the Albion College of Michigan. Do you feel like those years of schooling with the variety of schools have played a larger role in your artistic development?
I do. I do. I think I got 3 degrees, and I think all of those degrees did go they helped develop me into the artist that I am today. So it was undergrad at Albion College where, I figured out which way I want to focus in art, as far as the medium, the subject matter. But after graduating, I just had it in my mind that I wanted to, work in the movies and be, more digitally, with my art making. So that's why I explored the Master's of Science degree at Knowledge Systems Institute. But I, even though I'm not working in that field, I still say that degree was important to become an artist I am today because it helped me to realize that I belong as an art painter. When I was doing that, I wasn't happy. I was still painting and exhibiting artwork my entire time that I was getting, obtaining that degree. So it helped me to realize, I tried this digital art, at least I could know for sure that it's not for me. Where I belong is in oil painting. So that's when I decided to go. And then after speaking with Michael Dixon again, he helped encourage me as well. That's why I decided to go back to school to get my MFA at Northern Illinois University. And with that degree, not only did I gain the credentials to now teach art at a college level, but I also learned how to navigate the art world, and how to actually become an artist and make a career out of it.
Right, right. So also with these years of schooling, do you think that your time studying for your fine arts degree was more influential on your style and like subject matter in your paintings?
I do, because it was in school, working with the professors, working with other, people within my cohort that helped to develop what I wanted to paint, and the type of, seeing what other people was painting, and having conversations. I love to, when we, during group critiques, and we had these like deep conversations about the artwork. All of that added to, what direction I wanted to go and how I wanted people to experience my artwork. So I would definitely say the schooling was important.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So there is this strong narrative of the figures you paint, like in the work Spider-Man Wears Green Shoelaces. There is a prevalent warmth in your figures, regardless of its cooler setting and background tones. How do you decide what moments you want to capture, or what is your thought process behind how you choose like what you're putting on the canvas?
Yeah. So I consider myself like a people watcher. I'm always noticing like these small moments that probably otherwise would go unnoticed. So, like for instance, the painting you mentioned, Spider-Man Wears Green Shoelaces. That painting came from the two boys in the picture. They're my nephews, they're brothers. And, we went to the doctor's office. The little boy was nervous about seeing the doctor. So his older brother, put him on his lap and started to play with him to ease his fear, so he'd be more comfortable. And to me, that was just so special. They were just two little kids playing together, but I wanted to bring that to the canvas because it was moments like that I feel deserve value, and to be explored more and to be shared. So whether it's a moment like that where the two little kids are playing with each other, or even if I see like a group of women laughing together, or like an old man at a coffee shop sipping his cup tea or whatever, I love to look for moments that allude to joy and peace, because my artwork is very much emotionally driven, and I want, when people experience my art, they to have a smile on their face, so I look for these moments where I could show that.
Right. That
Yeah,
piece specifically, I love how there is such a they are encapsulated in this colder, maybe scarier place, yet you feel the
exactly.
warmth coming from them off the canvas. They're just so beautiful. Um,
Thank you.
how do you hope audiences will interact with or experience your pieces in a gallery space? Like, what kind of dialogue or emotional response are you like trying to spark in your viewers?
Yeah, so when people experience my artwork, I don't want them to look at it and be like, "Oh, that's looks nice and walk away.
Hmm.
No, what I want them to do is to spend time with the painting. And what I mean by that is I want them to think about the expressions that the people have on their face, the subjects. Think about like the colors that I'm using within the piece, and then to think about the narrative, like the set that they're in, like all of the details. And I just want them to, one to think about how these people, what they're doing in this subject, and what the importance of it is. And not only that, because a lot of times, I'm painting these people that I know, but I know that the viewer are not going to know who they are. But I want my subject matters and my paintings to have a connection with the viewer, as far as, even though they might not know who this particular person is, they might have someone like that in their lives. Like, oh, that reminds me of my nephews, or
Yeah. Familiarity,
exactly,
Yeah, I know exactly.
exactly. So I want that. I feel like that would bring a connection between the viewer and the painting. Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So, looking specifically at the works you've submitted for this exhibition, there's a strong emphasis on social identity, introspection, resilience, and culture. A piece
Hmm.
like A7 through G3, 12 Reasons We Deserve to Be Here, for example, captures a profound beauty in the mundane, as we like to call it. Can you share your
Hmm.
mindsets or process creating this specific work?
Yeah. So again, but this piece came from me again noticing these small moments. Like I remember I was walking through my local neighborhood, and I came around a corner, and there was this man who was on the corner. He was playing his violin, and he was playing like no one was watching. And what I mean by that is he was very much into the moment. You could really tell that he was passionate about his art. So I took his picture to paint him. But as I was painting him, and this is really where the title came from, A7 to G3 representing the violin, but then the 12 reasons we deserve to be here, 12 representing the police, and then reasons we deserve to be here. As I was painting this piece, I was thinking about the Black Lives Matters movement, and all of the people who lost their lives because they were stereotyped and put into this box of what they represented. And I was like, these people, you know they represented, and I'm sure within their own lives they had so much more value that they could have done to this world, that they could have offered the world. And then they unfortunately lost their lives because of how they looked. So I thought about how this man, particularly it was this black man on this corner, was playing his violin so beautifully. And it was like, to see to see his artwork, and to see him, uh like to say, if you just saw him in a different setting, just like normal every day, you might not know that he could play a violin like this, or something that represents that. So to me, it was just about, this painting was just about, not going beyond the stereotypic, and just the identity of a person, and knowing more about who they are and what they have to offer this world.
Right, which is
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
powerful, especially with a piece
Hmm.
like that. I personally wanted to really ask about that one because I thought it was so
Awesome.
interesting. Um,
Thank you.
After reading your artist statement, I was intrigued by your reflections on how visual art can act as a mirror to both personal and societal challenges. For example,
Hmm.
your exploration of topics like trauma and healing through portraiture is both moving and I feel necessary. How has working with such themes influenced you beyond the act of creating? Maybe like shifted the way you experience life or engage with your
Hmm.
community?
Yeah. So I would say, um, my work very much so emotionally driven, and focusing on like the feelings and stuff. I used to be a very quiet person, and I used to keep my feelings very just bottled up and keep them to myself. But I find myself now being more expressive, and then encouraging other people to be more expressive as well. And because I think our psychological health is very important, and I think that the psychological issues and not expressing yourself and not dealing with emotions that you are facing during different challenges is what adds to the societal issues. So like for instance, I'm working on a series now called Today I Feel, and then it's going to have every day talking along with the painting, representing that feeling, but talking about your specific feelings. I feel like if we talk more about our feelings, get it out of our head and then, out into the world, then that will help with these issues and challenges that we face in society.
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
excited to hear about what you're working on as well.
Yeah.
As a viewer, I find your work deeply moving and incredibly relevant to the conversations we need to be having in today's world. Your visual language speaks powerfully to issues that many people, like you kind of just mentioned, hold silently. What role do you think art plays, or your art plays in those larger societal conversations?
hmm So again, I believe my work tells people to slow down and to appreciate small moments. I believe my artwork is also encouraging people to express themselves freely, and then also to not have a stereotypic mindset. I remember a lot of times in my artwork, even like before the series that I'm doing here, whenever I've always painted Black people and painted Black culture, and I would oftentimes get asked the question, oh, like, okay, so what's the struggle? What are they representing? What's the resilience? So to me, it's like when you see a Black person in artwork, it should not just represent some sort of struggle, because the people I paint are not struggling. They are not, trying to overcome or be rebellious in any type of resistance or anything like that. So I want to encourage people, to again to get rid of that stereotypic mindset and to to be able to see this person and to see that to look at the individual, and not what they represent because of their color. And then, because the people I'm painting are just living their happy lives, and I happen to, see this moment that they experience, and I brought it to the canvas. So, well, that basically that's why I want the people to see my work to experience to, vanish any stereotypic type of mindset.
Yeah, and that is really important to mention because when we do look at a lot of these Black art pieces, a lot of the times we are looking for what's the resilience here just because of the obvious, with the Black people
Right.
in our community struggle a lot. So we are looking for the issues, but I like that you like to kind of put a light on the beauty of like the community and like the good things to talk about as well. Um,
Exactly. Mhm.
Lastly, here, I was interested in your use of psychology of colors, and wondering if you could quickly talk a little bit more about your art making process with using the psychology of colors.
So I love color and color theory and everything about it. So I love to bring in color because when I learn more about color and how it is connected to our human psychology and our emotions, I thought, I wanted to bring that into my piece to bring another layer of like depth and conversation within the painting itself, as well as, the vibrancy of the colors because I am using these different colors. So adding to the visual aspect of it, how when we were talking about the Spider-Man painting, how you said, they're in a cool, cold environment, but the warmth within them, but you could see the warmth one and the colors that they wearing, both wearing this red, but also in their emotional, the way they're holding each other, you could see that love. And then you get this cold blue and greens are happening, showing that, the environment that they're in, it might be a little It's not, it's a little cold environment. So, I want all of my, work again is attached to like having some sort of emotional element, psychological element. So using color to help bring it in another layer of that is just a part of my process.
Right. Well, Angie, those are all the questions I had planned. But before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share? Maybe that upcoming project you just mentioned not too long ago?
Yeah.
Anything that came into mind during our chat?
For sure. So I wanted to mention the paintings that I'll be sharing with both the virtual and the physical exhibition. They are part of a larger series that I'm working on. It's called Lemon for Your Tea. And people, you can just follow me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram at Angie Redmond Artist to see the development of that series, as well as it's mainly just on TikTok and YouTube. I'll be doing the series I mentioned earlier, Today I Feel, because the way I'm developing it is I want it to be like a diary entry. So basically, I'm doing this painting. This essay, like today, I feel reflective is one of the pieces that's already out. And I'm doing a painting that represents that reflection, but I'm also just speaking about why today I feel reflective, in this voiceover. And I'm encouraging the people to not only, see the work that I'm creating, but also to do some on their own. Like, how are you feeling today? How would you, visually express that on paper or canvas or whatever? So, that series again could be seen on TikTok. I'm everywhere on Angie Redmond Artist. So,
Well, that's very exciting to hear. Thank you again, Angie Redmond, for sharing your time, thoughts, and artistic insight with us today. We're so excited to feature your work in our upcoming exhibition, which runs from August 27th through October 19th of 2025. Thank you again, and we wish you all the best with your ongoing artistic journey.
thank you. Thank you
Have a
so much.
wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, you too. Bye.
Bye.